How did the fight over Texas lead to the United States taking half of Mexico's land? In this video, we tell the story of the Mexican-American War. It began with Texas and ended with the United States taking half of Mexico's territory. We will explore how the war started, how the United States won, and what it meant for the enslaved and native nations. Why did Mexico see Texas as stolen land?
After gaining independence from Spain in 1821, Mexico was enormous. It stretched from Oregon in the north through California, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, and deep into Central America. Mexico wanted to populate its northern frontier, so it invited settlers from the United States into Texas in the 1820s. Many of these settlers came from the South and brought enslaved African Americans with them. This created immediate conflict. Because Mexico had abolished slavery in 1829, but the settlers resisted. They rebelled in 1836 and defeated Mexican forces at the Battle of San Jacinto and declared the Republic of Texas. The Republic of Texas was larger than the state of Texas today. It claimed land that stretched into New Mexico, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Wyoming. When the United States annexed Texas in 1845, Mexico saw it as theft. Both sides claimed the land between the Nueces River and the Rio Grande. U.S. and Mexican troops clashed in the disputed territory as tensions escalated in April 1846. President James K. Polk declared that Mexico had spilled American blood on American soil, and Congress voted for war. African Americans were caught in the middle. Freed African American men joined the U.S. Army or Navy, while the enslaved in Texas were forced to labor. Native nations like the Comanche and Apache fought to defend their own lands, resisting both Mexico and the United States.
What led to U.S. success in the first battles of 1846?
General Zachary Taylor led U.S. forces to victories at Palo Alto and Resaca de la Palma near the Rio Grande. His army pushed into northern Mexico, capturing Monterrey. Meanwhile, U.S. settlers in California launched the Bear Flag Revolt, declaring independence with U.S. military support. The United States, by the end of 1846, controlled the disputed Texas border and much of California. But the real showdown was still ahead.
What steps did the U.S. take to capture Mexico City in 1847?
Zachary Taylor defeated Santa Anna's larger army in early 1847 at Buena Vista, securing northern Mexico. But the final blow came from the east. General Winfield Scott launched a daring campaign. In March, 12,000 troops, along with cannons, horses, and supplies, arrived by ship and landed at Veracruz. This was the first large-scale landing by sea in United States history. Thousands of men, animals, and weapons were brought to shore in one massive operation. After days of heavy siege, the city surrendered, and the United States gained a strong base on the coast. From there, Scott's army marched inland, fighting a series of bloody battles. The campaign struck first at Cerro Gordo, where United States forces climbed through the mountains and outflanked Mexican defenses. The march pressed on to Contreras and Churubusco, where the fighting raged just outside Mexico City. Molino del Rey became one of the bloodiest battles of the war. with heavy losses on both sides. The struggle ended at Chapultepec Castle, where young Mexican cadets, remembered as the Niños Héroes, made a final stand before being overwhelmed. U.S. troops had entered Mexico City by September 1847. A Mexican capital was under foreign control.
What did Mexico lose in the Treaty of 1848?
With their capital occupied, Mexico had no choice but to negotiate. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was signed on February 2, 1848. Mexico gave up more than 500,000 square miles of land. This included today's California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, and parts of Colorado and Wyoming. The U.S. paid $15 million and assumed $3 million in debts owed to U.S. citizens. For the United States, it was a massive victory. For Mexico, it was a national humiliation. But for African Americans, they faced new uncertainty. Would slavery spread into these new territories? Native nations also faced new waves of dispossession as settlers poured into the Southwest.
Why was this war the doorway to the Civil War?
The Mexican-American War was about more than Texas. It was about slavery, land, and power. The U.S. gained enormous territory, but this victory reopened the bitter question: would slavery expand westward or be stopped? That debate split the nation. From the Compromise of 1850 to Bleeding Kansas, the fight over the land taken from Mexico pushed America straight into the Civil War. African Americans remained in chains. Native nations lost more of their homelands. And Mexico never forgot the loss of half its territory.
The war began with Texas, but it ended with conquest. The United States grew larger, but African Americans, Native nations, and Mexico paid the price.
Every war has two sides, the one polished for the history books, and the unfiltered truth they tried to bury. Watch next. The untold side of war, where we expose the whole truth.
That's a wrap, history seekers. Getting to the roots is where history comes alive. We uncover the truth about Africa, African Americans, and American history, one story at a time. Thanks for watching. Peace and love.